Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
And hot damn, grab your ham Lentigo blue blazers and get ready because we're about to talk about Better Call Saul season 4. We're about to do the speculation podcast, Dragon, and my god, it's been a long time coming. This has been a very long and arduous wait. Like, I remember at a certain point, Dragon, I remember when the show wasn't coming out in like February, and we thought like, oh man, it's not going to be out till May or June, and then little did we know we had to wait a couple months after that. But we're finally, Dragon, it's on the horizon. It's only a few days away. How you feeling, buddy?
I'm very excited. I can't wait. Again, folks, Better Call Saul is a show that when I'm bored, I'm going to rewatch it. I just have such a good time with it, and basically,
Famously, Dragon and I had sort of like this revelation kind of come to Jesus moment where Dragon was like, Tiki, I have something to confess to you. I like Better Call Saul better than Breaking Bad, fundamentally. And I'm like, you know what, Dragon? I have to agree with you. I have to agree with you. Like, through 3 seasons, even though Breaking Bad, of course, is freaking Breaking Bad, there's something about the subtlety of Better Call Saul. There's something about the way that they build tension and they build these epic moments through these small scale exchanges and these mundanities.
I mean, yes, it amps it up so much, and it basically again, it's working with far less than Breaking Bad, yet it's conveying so much more. And by no means is Breaking Bad a slouch by any stretch. Breaking
Oh,
Bad, of
we're just
course,
going
one
to
of the
completely write off Breaking Bad as one of the best shows ever made now, Dragon.
yeah, but you see what I mean? I just kind of, I think personally, I prefer Better Call Saul, and I think an argument can be made for objectively being better. I say objectively in this phrase here, sorry, in this line of thinking, folks, in that it has an advantage over Breaking Bad. So it's kind of an unfair, but it is an objective observation that again, this is like season 5 level Breaking Bad writing from the starting point of a series. So by that logic, every season getting better and better is just like they're improving as they're going along, and they have far less trial and error that Breaking Bad had when they were figuring things out, making television history. So by that logic, Better Call Saul, I think, is technically the better show, and personally for me, the better show. Not that again, nothing
To
against.
quote Hal Rudnick, Dragon, they're at the height of their powers.
Yes. So speaking of, so I really had this realization when I was watching through the DVD of season 3, and of course, folks, when I get ready for Better Call Saul, I watch through the seasons, and of course, I even watch it when it comes on Netflix just to show my full support. And then I'm watching the DVD. Basically, I watched all 3 seasons, and I watched all 3 seasons with commentary, and I watched all the features, and et cetera, et cetera. And I've done this at least twice, getting ready for Better Call Saul season 4. So the point is, I'm very hyped for it. And let's talk about let's kind of summarize season 3. It's been a while. Let's kind of get to know season 3 a little bit before we go into season 4. What are our overall kind of thoughts and highlights from season 3? What do you take away from it, Tiki?
It's been a while, Dragon. I haven't had time to rewatch it the same as you have. Honestly, season 3 was definitely a season where things kind of escalated. I feel like it was a beautiful sort of like culmination of a first act of a play, if you will, where I feel like now we're very much kind of like on the tipping point. Uh, I'm sorry, Dragon. I should have prepared a little bit more for talking
While
about season 3.
while you're gathering your thoughts for a moment, I want to give a shout out to Demona B. You're not too late. No problems. Welcome.
Nope,
Join
nope, we're
us
just getting started.
as we revel and geek out about Better Call Saul and all sorts of speculation for season 4. But speaking of season 3, let me chime in here while you kind of maybe gather some reminiscence here. If I may. It's so fascinating about season 3 how if you look at Better Call Saul as a whole, each season, of course, gets better and better. And I feel season 3 bridged the best qualities of the first 2 seasons. Both seasons are really serviceable and really different. Because first season, I feel, is very bingeable, and again, it's sort of like a bingeable one shot. In that, if we never had gotten any more episodes of Better Call Saul, you could. And again, this was the intent when they made the first season. They didn't know they were coming back for more. It has an ending like, okay, Jimmy's riding off into the sunset, dun dun dun, and we know where he ends up, so it's fine.
Mm.
And then season 2 is like, okay, we're back. Well, let's have fun. Let's tell a real story here. And again, season 1 was kind of like a character piece about
I feel
Jimmy
like
McGill.
season one, yeah, you're right. Season one was the character piece. Season two very much was kind of they really amped up the storytelling, amped up the editing and the crazy like it felt more like Breaking Bad than ever before.
Yeah, I feel season two had a plan in the narrative. Like they had more narrative fun. Than season one was just getting a baseline of Jimmy McGill. Season two was we're gonna play with it. We're gonna plan out a narrative because again, if you rewatch season two, Tiki, you're gonna see everything does pay off. And again, the
Oh,
whole
I know, yeah.
the circular quality, the Chuck stuff, again, like all the stuff building to click. And season three, I feel again, kind of bridging both seasons there. I feel it's character driven. So there's a story in place and there's a plan, but it's driven by what characters do. And as Vince Gilligan loved to say on Breaking Bad, and interestingly, he had deja vu with this on Better Call Saul. Your main character dictates the season where they had this crushing realization. It's hilarious. I love when folks, if I geek out about Vince Gilligan, because I have more and more respect for Vince Gilligan every season of Better Call Saul. I idolize the man even more each season. And he basically had the realization that, oh man, I don't want Jimmy McGill to become Saul because it's gonna. It basically realized we're doing a tragedy here. We thought it was just gonna be like a little fun kind of extra story in the Albuquerque verse, and then it's kind of turned into this phenomenal Greek tragedy that they're doing where Jimmy is dictating the
Where Jimmy
season.
McGill is so much more likable, layered, and complex than Saul Goodman ever was on Breaking Bad.
Exactly,
Like Saul
and
Goodman was a great part of Breaking Bad. He was a key ingredient in the comic relief of that show, but he was the clown. You know what I mean? He never got more than like the most sympathetic he got was like, "Hey, I'm technically on your side, Walton Jesse. I favor you over the mobsters that are trying to kill you."
yeah, and of course, a few things just to note, and of course, going forward, a few things to know about season three that still remain true. We have the tradition in Better Call Saul of episodes 7 and 9, being some of the most impressive of the season. Of course, episode 7 was expenses, which had my favorite Odenkirk performance in the whole series. At the end, where he breaks down, he's like, "It's so hard." That whole that so phenomenal. I love that scene so much. I mean, it got me. I mean, I was actually welling up when I watched that scene. It's like because I was when he transformed, I was hit with like his feelings like radiated onto me. Like, oh my god, I've been there. God, I'm feeling it's like just like Jimmy having this breakdown there, and it's so fascinating. And then the Fall, of course, Fall being the big, basically Fall is exactly what Vince Gilligan's talking about with season three. Is that there's this moment where you realize like, oh my god, the character made a switch that you turned on Jimmy, where it's he did something
That is the
truly.
bingo thing, right?
Yes, that was
Uh-huh.
the thing with I believe Irene. I believe that was
Right, right.
yes, that's the Jimmy's big plan where he had to tear down poor Irene to basically get the settlement money. He did a horrible, and again, like the most repugnant I've ever felt. Where it's like it's the show doing such a good job making me hate this character that we love so much, and essentially that to me, I hope is a tease of what season 4 is going to be like, which is going to be fascinating, which it has to be, right?
I would hope so. I think season 4 is definitely kind of leaning more towards like we're sort of at this point like season 1 was kind of like Breaking Bad was sort of like a far off dream outside of like certain elements like Tuco showing up for an episode or two. And then season 3 kind of introduced the idea of Gus Fring, but more in the same way that ironically enough, season 3 of Breaking Bad introduced Gus Fring, where it's like sort of like kind of like on the fringes, like, hey, there's this mysterious guy looming in the background.
Well,
We'll introduce
remember,
him.
it was even earlier than 3. He was in 2 at the end of 2. Remember, and that's
Oh,
how
you're
we
right. You're right.
like
Yeah.
Gus Fring was just he. I don't even think we. I'm trying to think we really. Well, of course, we saw him in the very same way that Jimmy sees him in season 2, technically, that he's there in the restaurant, but Walt doesn't realize that he met him.
Uh-huh.
And he has that one schmoozing scene, and I guess it's got basically 2 scenes, and that's how we introduce Gus Fring. And of course, we really start things with kind of the Walter White parallel in season 3. Then we do the whole fascinating Jesse Pinkman parallel in season 4 with Fring. So Fring has like kind of like a 2.5 season arc in that regard. Um,
Right.
Yes. Okay. So of course, Owen Kirk was a standout in season 3. It's a shame he's not getting an Emmy nomination for his work on season 3 because he'd earned that Emmy. My God, he did such fine work season 3.
Dragon, if I had one complaint about season 3 is that, and I feel like season 4, they're definitely going to this, at least according to the trailers. Mike didn't have nearly enough to do in season 3.
Again, Tiki, I would raise the argument. And again, it's kind of a fascinating thing about Better Call Saul so far. And I say so far, and we'll get to that when we get to kind of like theories and stuff, season 4. But again, so far, again, fitting into the objective argument is
At the very least, with Mike, I feel like Mike's story was more disconnected from Jimmy than ever.
yes, but I think that's
That
the
was kind of the
characters.
problem.
I really think that's the characters dictating the season, though, because naturally, if you put them anywhere else together, it wouldn't really make sense for what they're doing. I mean, Mike keeps to himself, and he's
No,
not in a
but what I'm
place where
saying is like season 4, we're kind of going to get into it, but season 4, it seems like Mike is like more in line with Gus than ever before, but even still, like Jimmy and Mike are interacting on a more regular basis, it feels like. So we're kind of like, I guess we're in a place where maybe that can more naturally happen since Jimmy is in a darker place as well, maybe.
that's
I
what I'm
don't know.
saying. Like, he's in a place where he's going to be making more morally compromising decisions, which of course would be where Mike enters the fray is his means to make that happen. So looking at that way, again, I think that's the point of season 3. They have to be kind of these separate entities. And the only reason I don't think it was a mistake, but I think what happened is it was so noticeable because so much was going on in the last episode. Mike didn't show up, and it
Oh,
was
that's
noticeable.
true. That was a big part
I
of it.
really think
Yeah.
that's Tiki. I really think that's what you're globbing onto because I remember we talked about this when we did the recap, and that he didn't have a role in that episode, and it just worked out that way. But I mean, it would have been shoehorn another story. It would have taken away from Chuck's thing or somewhat.
Mhm.
Every other story we get is like taking like a small bit away from the big Chuck moment.
Sure, sure.
So by that, and again, like that, folks, I don't mean to sound defensive about season 3. I'm just saying, again, it so fascinates me with the show that I don't really, again, the objective thing, the difference between them Breaking Bad is we don't have like an open house. We don't have that. We hadn't really had our kind of our divisive Skylar stuff or our open house, and Better Call Saul is just really. I can't really
I
think of
love
one
that
negative.
open house. I kind of coined it as like the bad Breaking Bad episode.
Yeah,
I feel like I should give myself some credit for that.
I keep meaning to rewatch. I remember I looked at like kind of these a summary of the episode. I was trying to think of like, is there like a secret Walter White storyline that's in that thing that I'm not remembering? But I
Isn't
don't.
there like kind of like a prelude to the I am the one that knocks
That's the thing. I'm
or
not
something
sure.
like that? Like it's
I
not the I am the one that knocks speech itself, but kind of like something that builds to that moment. I don't know, like a
maybe I
little nugget in there.
gotta re-explore it one day. I don't know. It's off the top of my head. I'm not sure. My point is, so again, like Better Call Saul, I
You know
really
what we
think
should do?
yes.
We should do like a Breaking Bad, like instead of the Just Giggle It grab bag. Well, not instead of it, like in addition to the Just Giggle It grab bag, we should do like the Breaking Bad grab bag, where each week we literally have like all the Breaking Bad episodes in a hat, and we just draw from the hat to dictate which one we do each week.
That's well, that's an interesting idea. We'll feel that one out other time, but it's not a bad pitch.
All right.
Um, let's see.
I just
Yeah,
like the spontaneity of it all. We could get like a, you know, like we could get like an Ozymandias, or we could get an open house.
like we could start with a Granite State or something, which you just feel kind of.
Right,
Oh
right.
man, it feels so penultimate, right? And let's get to episode 2 now. So that's
That'd be like so Clerks the animated series of us.
all right. What was I? What was I getting on? But my point is, I mean, Tiki again. Every time I talk about it, is I can you really think of like a genuine misstep in the 3 seasons?
I mean, maybe the skateboard twins didn't really amount to much.
But I mean, they served their purpose, and we got me wrong. We still like we barely passed like the year mark in Better Call Saul, and they have their 6 months out of the game. So I mean, really, it's well, they wouldn't be around because they have these broken legs.
Yeah, fair enough.
But anyway, let's see. Let's see. I'm trying to think. If there's anything major before we move on here.
Yeah, I think we should. I think we're spending a little bit too much time on season 3. This is about season
Well,
4.
let me just say your mundane example. I would say the pill swap scene. That's like the big example I would cite to prove your point. There's the whole Nacho switching the pills, and that was such an intense yet mundane scene. Like the stakes are so low, yet they're so amped up and they're so amped up and so intense, and that the way that was shot was just it was fascinating. Of course, we get more Albuquerque verse characters like Lydia, Huel, Francesca, Don Eladio, Bolsa, and that's pretty much kind of a lot of ground's covered in season 3. So let's move on to folks. The way we usually break down our speculation of Better Call Saul is we do kind of 3 segments. Do what we know, as in the stuff that's been announced and said by the creators from the horse's mouth itself, what's kind of episode titles and such. to what we've seen, and ultimately, from trailers and everything, what we visually have seen and heard, to what we think might happen. So that said, we'll break down. So those are kind of our three little kind of checkpoints here. So let's start with the first one. Let's go with what we know so far.
All right, Drake, I feel like this has been a tradition. I feel like this isn't the first time we've done this
I
where
know we've always broken it down like this.
no, I'm saying specifically what we're about to do where I don't know what information you're about to drop on me, and so we're kind of going to make it a surprise element here.
Yeah, I think it sounds kind of familiar. I think we might have done that.
I think we at least did that for the season 3 speculation podcast with the episode titles.
Yeah, because I mean, sometimes I'm thinking of the series, and when usually you bring up the episode titles of like the ones down the line. So I think that's what I'm thinking of. So you might be right.
Uh-huh.
All right. Okay. So of course, first off, August 6th coming at us Mondays, August 6th, which is nice.
Very soon, very soon.
Very soon. Okay. So folks, so far we know 5 episode titles, and we know at least 2 directors.
Okay, now length of the season it's going to be 10, right?
As always, Tiki, 10
Okay.
episodes.
Okay, just making sure.
So far, 30.
Oh,
It'll
man,
be.
so we already know the titles for half the season. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And of course, I mean, they always put like a mind blowing, like a Jello switch or something. So you never know.
Oh God.
Yeah, they've done some wacky things to titles. They have
That
everything
stupid
ended.
Alpine Shepherd boy that totally like ruined the whole theme of the.
And you can tell if you ever listen to commentary, you can hear Peter Gould still bugged about like the whole why couldn't we get Jello? It was just like just they were dancing around it so much because they didn't
Why
want to get in
couldn't you
trouble.
call it like I don't know? Why couldn't you come up with another O?
Well, because they had bingo for a different segment. There, but I
Did
don't
they
know.
have hello?
Yeah, you're right, but it's basically because Jello was so. I think there was like their pigeonholes like a last minute switch thing. That's what I think really happened. I think it was just like they had Jello and everything. They advertised Jello, and then they didn't have didn't do a promo of Jello, but it was I don't know.
Anyways.
Anyway. So the ones that we know about.
Okay, hit me, Dragon, because I got to admit I'm genuinely excited about just this.
All right, episode 1. Again, this as it is
Oh
reported
man,
at the
Dragon, I'm legitimately getting goosebumps. This is like unwrapping a Christmas present.
Okay, in episode 1 we have a director and a writer.
Okay, okay.
So episode 1, Smoke.
Smoke. Ooh.
Right. So this is going to be directed by Minky Spiro, which I hope is a familiar name because Minky Spiro, I believe this is going to be her directorial debut. She's been involved in the production. I don't know if she's going from producer to directing, but she's worked in the show in a different capacity, like not like an in your face capacity, but she's been around. I'm not sure if I don't know if she was like if she was a production assistant or producer or maybe one of the writers. But here's the thing: I checked her credits on Breaking Bad. She hadn't written or directed anything on Breaking Bad, but her name is she's definitely in the credits. So you probably might recognize from the credits.
Uh-huh.
And Peter Gould is writing this one. Of course,
Nice,
Peter Gould,
nice. Peter Gould special. Of course, he knows the character better than anyone, probably.
Certainly the co-creator of Saul. He's the one who pitched Saul, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Saul's real, daddy. Okay, so here's what I speculate might happen with Smoke. You want me to just go through them all? Then we want to do like another round, then spec. What do you want to do? You want me to?
Well, let's just kind of give like our elevator pitch. Like, I feel like we should maybe save most of our spec for kind of like what we think will happen. But let's kind of give like our one sentence. Like,
Well, that's what I mean. What I'm saying is, do you want to do like the elevator 1 minute pitch? Like after I give you
no,
the title.
I'm saying like let's just answer one question. What do you think the title means?
Okay.
Like not even necessarily like what you think will happen. Like that can get like we can get into that like later on. But what do you think the title means, Dragon?
All right.
What does it mean?
Okay, I think very simply, I think Smoke is going to be, it's about, the smoldering remains of Chuck, and it's going to build to like kind of a smoking thing because Jim and Kimmy they Slip and Kimmy, if you want to do the shipping name, they smoke together traditionally, or at least Kim smokes, so that's kind of the.
Also, I'm gonna up the ante here. I'm gonna say maybe Jimmy is putting up like a metaphorical smoke screen because we've seen in the trailers that like, no, I'm fine. I've got to get a new job. Like got to get back on the horse. And maybe that's like Kim is just like, no, you're masking your pain, and you need to just kind of pump the brakes a bit.
I think thematically that's on the money, but the show, Tika, they're probably going to literalize it somehow.
Mhm. Oh yeah. Oh, I'm not, well. I'm sure at the very least we're gonna see smoke from the remains of Chuck's house for sure.
All right, so episode 2.
Okay, here we go.
Very, very interesting, given like episode 1. Episode 2 is breath.
Breath. Okay, well that I definitely think kind of maybe ties into the smoking of it all. Maybe you're right on the money with that.
So we have a huge director on this one, Tiki. You're gonna be
Ooh,
really excited. Okay, you
is
ready
it
for this?
McLaren?
Yes,
Yeah. They
finally,
talked
her.
about McLaren in the movie fights today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
Is let's see what as who should replace James Gunn in Guardians of the Galaxy.
anyway, so Michelle McLaren,
I
she's
know,
direct.
touchy subject. I'm sorry to
I
bring it
know, just
up.
kind of bringing down the room a little bit. Okay, so Michelle McLaren, of course, this is her first time directing Better Call Saul episode. And famously, she directed some of the best episodes of Breaking Bad. Of course, 4 Days Out, which is an excellent episode.
Mhm.
1 Minute, that was her. Salute, that's a huge one. You know, it's the big Gus Fring revenge episode. And one of the finest kind of sequentially, basically one of the great montage episodes, gliding overall.
Yeah, I would say like next to dare I say the name, Ryan Johnson, she's probably the best Breaking Bad director.
I'm trying to, because I don't want to just risk like kind of citing Better Call Saul, because I mean Gordon Smith, you know, Gordon Smith's written, but you know he moved up to directing, so yeah.
Uh,
Okay, anyway, yeah, she's definitely out of the Breaking Bad directors. I think she's probably the king of the Breaking Bad directors. I think that's quite possible. Adam Bernstein's pretty solid, but McLaren, yeah, she's.
I just think Ryan Johnson has the most iconic ones though.
He does, yeah. Ozymandias, of course. It's
Well, and
Ozymandias, and
Fly. I
I
think
know it
Ozymandias and Fly should belong on any top five list, honestly.
most assuredly, yes. Okay, breath. So again, I just think I think it's going to be whatever it's going to be in continuation to the smoke idea. I think if not just like connecting to like maybe someone smoking at the end, just like the inhale exhale. I think that's kind of thematically what it's going to be, like an inhale exhale
Uh,
of basically Jimmy. I think it's gonna be a fun episode. That's basically what I'm getting a sense of, without getting into like kind of more details with it. What do you have?
I got nothing.
Okay, episode 3. Something beautiful.
Ooh, now that's interesting.
Yeah,
Hmm. Maybe a life that Jimmy imagines for himself that he can't quite achieve.
I think you're right about that, and I think if we need to kind of yeah, I think it's that. For all we know, maybe he's going to get kind of the strip mall lawyer idea in this one.
Ooh, nice, nice.
Okay, episode 4. Talk.
Hawk. Well, Jeremy Renner shows up.
Wait,
I
no,
don't know,
talk.
maybe like kind of like scoping out the surroundings, like like zeroing in on a goal, maybe.
Okay, well, Tiki, I'm sorry, I feel like I've said this wrong. Talk, as in like a chat
Oh, I thought you
conversation.
said hawk.
No,
What
talk.
like what do you have a Boston accent or something now, Dragon?
Are you a cop?
Are you a co-op? Okay, talk, huh? I don't know. Ties into the breathing, I guess. I'm sorry, I don't have as much to say about talk as I do
Well,
about
this one
hawk. I
goes
don't
without
know.
saying, but I think it's going to be maybe a conversation between Jimmy and Kim,
Ooh, possibly a bottle episode.
possibly. But you know, if they want to,
Like a My Dinner with Andre style breakup episode.
we'll circle back to that once we get to the last one here,
Okay.
and we'll just kind of circle back and give more elaboration on what could happen. Episode 5. This is a really good one here. Quite a ride.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Quite a ride.
Quite. Ooh, oh man. Ooh, man.
I have a very simple idea what this one's going to be.
Yeah, I don't even think you need to spell it out, really.
Well, we'll circle back to it and reveal
Yeah.
that. But okay, let's go over smoke again. So just general, like, this is real general, folks. Elevator pitch stuff here. What I really expect from this one is I expect we're going to start with Chuck, basically the whole discovery of the smoldering remains of Chuck's house, and we're going to end with Jimmy smoking, and basically kind of as a symbol of Jimmy going bad, kind of bad in the Breaking Bad capacity. Basically, the beginning of the reemergence of Slipping Jimmy. So I think it's going to be him smoking alone instead of with Kim.
There's definitely some ominous Jimmy alone instead of with Kim going on in the trailers. I think that's one of the big things they're kind of hyping up.
And again, I think just with the whole stress of Jimmy, how Jimmy's internalizing all this, I think the smoking might be like a symbol of the stress and everything, possibly. So following that, I guess episode 2, Breath. Simply, I think this will connect to again thematically about the smoking. We're gonna have that stress, then this is gonna be him like kind of a breath of fresh air. Basically, I think this one's gonna be the return of Slipping Jimmy. It's gonna be a fun episode. It's gonna be him like going full blown Slipping Jimmy. It's gonna be like the return to form for him without Chuck looming over him anymore.
Nice, nice.
All right, something beautiful. I just think whatever it's going to be, I think it's going to be Jimmy having success, and we're going to build up kind of the maybe the dream with Kim Wexler, like not kind of the
That's
Wexler.
what I'm saying, yeah.
It's going to be a dream of some kind. Basically, we're gonna have good things happen to him in episode 3. I think. I could be completely wrong.
The white picket fence lifestyle with Kim Wexler, perhaps.
Sure. Maybe. Let's see. Okay, episode 4, Talk. Very simply, what I imagine, again, if not a bottle episode, which could be fascinating, I just think we're going to have a talk that could be the beginning of the Jim and Kim divide.
You know how BoJack Horseman had the bottle episode with Princess Caroline in the restaurant?
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
That's kind of what I'm picturing for if they were to go the bottle episode route with Jimmy and Kim.
And it would be great if they did like kind of their usual. Basically, if they started doing their slipping, their slipping Kimmy thing in a place, and then just turned into this really bottle episode conversation. That could be interesting. But I think what might happen. I think the parallel could be this. So if it's not a bottle episode, I think this is what's going to happen. I think it's going to be the beginning of the Jimmy and Kim divide. Like it's going to be the beginning. She's going to talk to him and confront him about how she feels what's going on with him. And on the flip side of things,
the talk, if you will.
On the flip side of things, I think Mike and Gus are going to have a conversation about, Mike feels that Gus is cutting him out of things. At least that's the vibe we've been getting in the trailers, that Mike isn't crazy about how Gus is doing things right now.
That might be the point where we get the, if you have something to say, now is the time to say it.
That's what I'm talking about, that one right there. So I think that conversation might be, I think it's going to be the big talk. There's going to be a big talk, like a dramatic talk, and there's going to be a character talk. So I think that's my theory on that one. So very simply, episode 5, Cadillac. We're getting the Cadillac. Come on, Cadillac. And while we get the Cadillac, we have the exploding.
I was more thinking that the title definitely sounds like a phrasing for a breakup.
Well, again, following the talk, maybe
that's what I'm saying.
Loses the girl, gets the car, and on the flip side of things, that's when the car gets blown up in the trailer.
Oh God!
Not the Cadillac, a different car.
Okay. I was about to say if Jimmy's car, like if Jimmy got a new car and it just blew up immediately afterwards, that'd be like a symbol for his whole life.
It would be, but we can't kill the Cadillac that fast, and we just got it.
I know.
All right. Well, again, those are all the episodes. Now, here's some casting stuff. We do have some really interesting tips. Basically, now we're getting to kind of let's start before we get into the cast. I'm going to switch up the order here. Let's start with some really good news out the front.
Okay.
We have news, big news of Better Call Saul already, even before the season has even aired, folks. Season 5 has been renewed for season 5.
That's good because if I remember correctly, wasn't there like some suspense over if Better Call Saul was even going to get renewed last season?
I know they delayed it. I don't know if there. I remember I think we were in suspense. I don't know if I think it was like a given that it was probably gonna happen, but it was like I don't know how much fear there was with that. But now they've been okayed for season 5, which is good. And I got to tell you, just my thoughts on this very simply is that I got to be honest. I'm in support of the show, and personally, I part of me wants to watch it go on forever. But of course, the strides that we're taking with the whole Jimmy
season 6.
You just kind of cut off my thought there, but yes,
6 seasons in a movie. 6 seasons in a movie.
Okay, maybe not a movie, but sure.
Why not a movie?
I'm not against a movie. I'm just,
baby, and on the big screen, man. Hamlin on the big screen. Hamlin's go blue in high definition.
But seriously, though, I mean, look, if Breaking Bad got 63 episodes, we can give Saul 60 episodes. I mean, I think that's fair, right?
Well, I'm always in the camp where Walking Dead is literally like it's become a metaphor for itself, where that show is on fucking life support and it sucks. So I never want to see a Vince Gilligan project turn into that. And not that I don't have faith that Vince Gilligan could crack out 10 seasons of quality storytelling. I'm just saying, like, it's the inherent nature of TV that things are going to get stale.
I mean, the interesting thing to note, by the way, I'm just saying in terms of speculating when it might all end, because again, I think you and I are on the same page here. I think it should end at six because just given the rate that the story's going, but well, again, this is more kind of theories and speculation towards the very end here, but I think you can only go so far with the show before we link up. And if you really wanted to, you could extend things, but then would reach a point of fan service before your storytelling. So I think that's a danger that it could.
I mean, there's always the possibility that we're going to get like a future Gene season.
Again, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a line. Again, season 6, for all we know, could be a Gene season. Season 5 could be the big Saul, like the genesis of.
I think season 5 could potentially be like. I think this is honestly the genesis of Saul season.
I mean, well, sorry, let me rephrase. I mean, the genesis of Saul. Then we have like the beginnings of
like
Saul.
the fun. I think season 5 could potentially be all the fun like Breaking Bad tie-ins, much like it could almost be like how Bates Motel season 5 was the movie from Norman's point of view.
Well, I've always been pitching you that we would reach a point in Saul where we would do kind of
where we would see like Breaking Bad events through Saul's eyes, essentially.
Exactly, essentially, yeah. Yes. And if we wanted that, but by the same token, what they could do what they did in season 5, like the latter half of season 5, I think, where we had all these little cryptic teases of like what Walter White was doing upon his return. Remember the beginning of the second half of season 5?
Oh, sure.
And we have that link up at a certain point where he's going to the house using the dime to get the rice and all that stuff.
I unfortunately had that cold open spoiled for me by Entertainment Weekly, and I'll never forgive them for that, but I digress.
And my point is, if they really wanted to, I think this could still work. But I'm just saying, I've always been imagining they could, in theory, do a whole season of that. But if they really wanted to be really cool about it and kind of capture that magic, you could have like a whole like little basically make fans go crazy. It's like they had the link up right there, and basically they would do a digital transfer so they could have the Breaking Bad stuff, but basically have like a digital layer on it, so the film's a little more cleaned up and fitting in the Saul look.
Uh-huh.
So it would look new, even if they couldn't get Cranston, because they're obviously going to be able to get Cranston and Paul. I'm just saying that the point is like that we have like all of our link up stuff in like this awesome montage that like for an episode, like one episode we do all of our link up for Breaking Bad all in one episode. How mind blowing would that be? And then like after that, okay, Gene. Like Gene to the end, baby, like that sort of thing. I mean, that'd be mind blowing, wouldn't it?
Sure.
And my point is, I'm in the camp of 60 episodes, yeah. But interestingly, Vince Gilligan, to address all facts here, Vince Gilligan has signed a contract with Sony for 3 years. Now, again, this is an AMC. AMC, of course, is a big factor in that. I'm just saying that Sony does crank these out as well. So I don't know how the delineation is between Sony and AMC, like how much of that goes. Like, and Sony technically produces the show. They make the shows, so that might infer that we could get 3 more seasons. I'm not saying we will. I'm just saying Vince Gilligan might be doing a whole nother show after he wraps up with this, assuming they wrap up at 6. I'm just saying feasibly.
Would that be 4, 5, and 6, or 3 more seasons after 4?
Well, I mean, this was after season 4 was filmed, so I would presume we would get 5, 6, and I'm saying I think the worst case scenario we might get like a 7th season.
I'm okay with a 7th season. I do not think any show should go beyond 7 seasons.
I'll put on first here. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they want Gilligan in the pocket for like whenever he wraps up Saul, which they're probably figuring, okay, he's probably going to go as long as he did on Breaking Bad, which was 60 episodes, therefore 6 seasons. Then we'll get in the bag for the beginning of something else, something new. That's what I think the logic is, but that's just my 2 cents. All right. Casting news. This is one I was very excited about when I learned this. We don't know who the character is yet, but we know the actor. One of my favorites there. We got Stefan Kapicic.
This was just a straight up heartwarming Comic-Con story you spun for me, Draken.
I remember at the Baltimore Comic-Con, I was able to meet Stefan Kapicic. Stefan Kapicic, for those who may not be aware, he was the voice of Colossus from the Deadpool movie. And of course, I have huge ties to the Deadpool movie, and I wrote humble letter. I was like, oh my god, you brought this character to life. I told him like how invested I was in the 7-year process, and he remembered me for all 3 days. He's delightful. He's such a nice guy, very insightful. An actor's actor. The guy, like, he wants to do everything on this. Like, I mean, he said he loved to play Craven. He loved to play, the Red Sun Superman if DC would have him. Like, Kappa, he's tops. He's a good actor. He really cares too. Like, he's a guy. Anyway, I can't say enough nice things about the Stefan Kapsik. When I heard he was putting this, I was geeking. I was telling him, "Oh my god, you won't believe the cast!" And it's just like what a perfect casting pool. I can't wait to see what they're going to do with him. And I imagine there was an image, and I didn't give it I didn't give it a good look because I was afraid it was a spoiler. But I saw a bearded man. I could assume it fit the build of Kapsik, but I don't know. There was a bearded man. I believe, with our cartel guys. So
if I were to guess, I would say he's somehow involved with the cartel, just given he's a big, intimidating guy.
That's the thing. I have 2 guesses, but I have information I found out just tonight that might blow that.
Breaking news, folks! Breaking news.
So okay,
so get it? Breaking.
Yes, I get it. Yes. So either he's a cartel guy, like kind of filling in since Salamanca was taken down, or he is one of Jimmy's new business contacts. And I say that because they dropped a big hint, and this is one of the big hints that we've been waiting for ever since the beginning of Better Call Saul here. There was a character, and I completely forgot about this because we were distracted by the first thing in season 1 of Better Call Saul. There's a character coming this season. They confirmed there's a character coming this season by the name of Lalo. Now, I know you don't remember this, Tiki, and that's fine because I didn't remember either. Lalo, when Saul was when the first episode in Breaking Bad, when Saul was introduced, remember Jesse and Walt? They had him at gunpoint. They were trying to freak him out, and you and I took away the whole. It was Ignacio. It was Ignacio, and of course us filling in the blanks. That's most likely Nacho, which again it could or it could not be. It depends how things go for Nacho this season. But here's the thing: we completely forgot because we were distracted by the Nacho of it all. Lalo, directly after that, he asked, "Did Lalo send you?" As in the guy, as in the person who might be sending armed thugs to get revenge on Saul Goodman. Okay. So what I'm saying, Tiki, is
I'm thinking maybe he's a rival cartel.
That's the thing. He could either be a rival cartel guy. So again, a guy in party of our cartel guys, or in basically kind of our most likely slipping Jimmy, kind of our track-suited Jimmy McGill. I think Jimmy's going to rub him the wrong. I think we're going to meet Lalo that way. I think he's going to be one of Jimmy's business contacts who he screws over and has a grudge against them. I think that's how we're getting Lalo. But again, it could be cartel or new business contact. We'll see. So that's the most recent breaking development. Now we have things that in interviews have been saying. Just kind of fire through these here.
Okay.
All right, so of course, now this season, at least this is what they've said, and this could be like a big cover-up for all we know. They've said, no Bryan Cranston or Aaron Paul this season, but they definitely want to get him in the future, which most likely would be season 5 or 6. Let's see, they almost had Dean Norris once in the show, but there was a schedule.
I remember that, yeah.
And now Dean Norris is still like an open option because Dean, that Hank does have a history with Saul Goodman, but we need Saul Goodman to be established before that happens, most likely. Let's see. There's coming up in this season, most likely the first episode. Most likely, I can't confirm this. There's early in the season. Gus will have a conversation alluding to his past.
Okay.
The end of this season will not end on a cliffhanger. It'll be an answer, not a cliffhanger. I love that. I love that as like an answer to the question: is the season going to end on a cliffhanger? It's like it's going to be an answer, not a cliffhanger. It's like, yeah, that's the way I want that question answered. Darn it. Let's see. Season 4, of course, is going to go darker. It's going to go kind of quote unquote badder. See what I did there. Anyway, breaking more Albuquerque verse essentially. Let's see. It sounds like they're really going to capture the episode 9, kind of McGill going to Saul, like the whole, again, like kind of Saul making you hate Jimmy McGill as he does.
It seems like they're going to do a whole season of that.
Essentially, yeah, and that's my thought on that. They've been kind of teasing. Basically, without citing the episode, they've been saying that in interviews. Chuck is officially dead. You know, he's dead, so there's no like
I
chance
like
of.
how Vince Gilligan put that. He's just like, no, folks. Like, if you, I think he cut Dragon. I want to say he's making a direct shot at The Walking Dead when he's saying this.
Well, they are on the same network, so there's that. I think they talk to each. I think the showrunners do talk to each other too, because that's entirely possible.
So he's just like, well, folks, if you know our show, you know that we don't do fake outs. And Dragon, of course, as you know, Walking Dead, they didn't just jump the shark; they reinvented the shark.
They could always do like a Bates Motel thing where Michael McKean just kind of shows up and he torments Jimmy.
Oh God.
And he has like, you know, just has
Hello,
always a hobby.
Jimmy.
And what if Chuck in the afterlife is a hobbyist all of a sudden, just like normal was? So just he's in a tennis get up and he's just like playing tennis. And he's like walking. You know, Hamlin plays golf. And anyway, he plays. It's like, you know, Howard walk. We have like a scene of the golf course final, and Chuck's there in like a golf costume when Jimmy's on. Anyway, it's not important. Okay, so the point is Chuck is dead, and we know this. It's going to be a very psychological. They're promising a very psychological season. Well, just psychological in the whole, but psychological season. Let's see. We're going to learn more about Kim this season. Like probably her backstory would be my guess.
Yeah, this seems like the Kim season. This seems like a very Kim's focused season.
Yep. And the last thing I got for the stuff we know, Nacho. Nacho has a story of redemption this season. He's trying to save his dad still, so it's still like a big story of redemption. For that's the way Mandow had phrased it. He said it's a story of redemption and a kid trying to save his dad. So that sounds really fascinating. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. And that's all we know. That's officially. That's all we know officially. So that's it. Let's see what we have seen.
Okay, so we've gotten a few trailers. We're going to kind of go rapid fire through a few of them, and
So in total, folks, we've had roughly 4 trailers, as in like one teaser. Well, they're all the teasers are really TV spots, folks. Let's not dance around it. So we've had at least 2 teasers, kind of a teaser trailer, and then of course our big meat and potatoes trailer from Comic-Con recently. So we're going to build to that one. We're going to kind of summarize what we've seen, building up to that.
all right, so teaser trailer 1 is mostly focused on the cartel. We see Nacho with a shot of a pill bottle. We see a car window being blown out and a car blowing up. We see a drug exchange going on, and then we see Gus Fring outside of Los Polos Hermanos saying, "Now is not a good time."
So that's what the teaser's nickname was too, by the way. No, it's not a good time. So they're being really cryptic and cool with and also last minute with the marketing. And basically what they did is they timed it for Preacher, which again Preacher got started like a few weeks. Maybe I want to say roughly like 5, maybe 6 weeks ago. So basically that's as far as we've been getting the Better Call Saul stuff. Basically, whenever Preacher airs, they have like the little nuggets of Better Call Saul, and it's been I thought it was kind of a neat marketing idea. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense for AMC, famously, like well, I shouldn't say famously, just famously in my family, my
I've
dad,
been holding off this long for it, you know?
yeah, but my dad watches a ton of AMC, like on the actual network, where he'll like sit there and watch the marathons of all the shows. It doesn't matter what show, you know what I mean? It's just like, so he knows it all. He'll get all the marketing, and so I think it very much still speaks to that, where it's like if you're watching the channel on a consistent basis, they're going to drill it into your head like, yeah, Better Call Saul. All right, got it.
All right, so following kind of our cryptic cartel chaos and the big shootout, they're really teasing a big shootout in all the trailers, by the way. There's going to be a big shootout this season, so they're really building that one up.
Mm-hmm.
Next, I guess we have gainful employment. This is the first kind of like, hey, there's something we can work with.
Yeah, which I like this angle of Mike and Jimmy both starting new jobs. I really think that alone is like a thematic connective tissue without them even interacting with each other. That definitely ties them in more than it did in season 3.
Yeah. And let's see. So we have Jimmy doing a job interview. We see kind of the track-suited, slipping Jimmy doing these odd jobs, hence the gainful employment. And we learned that he has 10 months before he's reinstated as a lawyer, which implies that since the chicanery, 2 months have gone by. in
Yeah,
the
which
up.
is interesting. That's a point we'll get back to with speculation.
We know a couple weeks have gone by. I mean, I don't know if the community service was daily. I mean, what do you think? Is community service like a weekly thing, or is it like a
No, I think you kind of set your own hours, but there's a deadline for when you can get it all done.
right? Because I know Jimmy's pigeonholed. Because if he could have managed it, he wouldn't have done like all of his jobs by the time that he's doing the community service. So it was probably he had to be stuck doing those hours somehow. I don't know, but starting thinking
Uh-huh.
back to the season, folks. The point is, so
I
two.
only know about community service because there's some people in my job that go through it with community service, but
Well, my point is, so he was sentenced to 12 months, a year without being a lawyer, and so far two have gone by. And basically, from what I understand, especially when we get into the big meat and potatoes of it all, he's going to be he's trying to fast track the 10 months, trying to circumvent the 10 months, from what I understand this season. I think that's Jimmy's big goal this season so far, at least in the first half of things. It sounds
gotcha.
like a little 10-month window. It's kind of the challenge for the season for him. Let's see. Mike wants Gus to be straight with him, so again, he just wants to be more trust. It's kind of a trust story between Mike and Gus. So kind of like these two guys, they could be best buddies. Who knows? More cousins. We're getting more cousins.
Yeah, it definitely seems like these guys might be even a bigger presence than perhaps in Breaking Bad season 3.
Yeah, and of course, I think the big shootout. Of course, I wouldn't be. I mean, we know they're going to be there during the shootout. I would imagine they're going to be doing all the carnage. If we need like a moment that could we building up the cousins, even in Better Call Saul, where we have these teas like, okay, these are bad hombres. You do not want to mess with these guys. Yet they haven't done anything violent so far.
Right.
Yet, and that's the thing. And of course, we saw when we built them up in Breaking Bad. And we saw when they did something violent. My God, they did some violent stuff there, and
Oh
they
yeah.
were. Yeah, as I'm saying, I think that's what the shootout's going to be. I think the shootout's going to be the equivalent to like lighting the truck on fire at the beginning of season 3 of Breaking Bad. Anyway, okay, let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything about that. We had the huge moment. I remember you and I were geeking out about this too. I showed you. I got your live reaction to this. I showed you this whole fair. Let's talk about fair.
Yep.
Kim versus Howard, which has me so like on the edge of my seat because Tiki and I were huge fans of Howard Hamlin, everything that pertains to Howard Hamlin. Of course, we love all these characters in the show, and the fact that Kim Welsh is just like she's really letting Howard have it because Hamlin out of all the characters in the show has kicked around Kim Wexler the most. That's going to be very interesting. Gus is confronting Nacho, and it looks like Nacho might be getting shot. That might be important.
Okay.
Okay, briefly, the most recent of all these things, back to work.
Yeah, that's the one with the lawyer jokes, right? It's like the 2 lawyer jokes.
Well, to be fair, they kind of worked the lawyer jokes into like all three of the. But yes, yeah, this is the other one with the
Uh-huh.
shorter, like the shorter spot with like. Yeah, we have Jimmy's like this is the one where Jimmy has all the odd jobs. Like we see like quick glimpses of Jimmy with the odd jobs. Like he wants to get his law. I'm going to get my law license back. Basically, he's trying to get his law license back. He says whether it's an office manager, a salesman, I'll have doors slammed in my face, and we see all these quick cuts of like odd jobs. It looks like Kim and Howard might be teaming up, which I think is interesting. In this one, Jimmy's attempting to break into a car very unsuccessfully. And that's something to speculate on later on right here. Mike and Victor might be at the start of their dynamic because he's kind of giving Victor the business. Of course, Victor is, remember, Breaking Bad, Victor is like one of Mike's most trusted guys.
Sure.
He was the proto Pinkman. So, and Jimmy says, I have some plans, and we see him going through the colored shirts that Saul Goodman wears. So, okay, now we're on to the meat and potatoes of it all here, folks. Now we're going to the kind of the, like, go into the video. There's a Zapruder footage of Better Call Saul, if you will. Buckle up, folks. The ride's about to begin.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, so this is the Comic-Con footage, folks. It was debuted at Comic-Con. It's the first full trailer. It's the big full trailer. It's all the big stuff to speculate on. Okay, so see the steam pulling up here. Of course, Jimmy's at one of these big job interviews. But again, most likely schmoozing his way to getting the law license reinstated, would be my guess. If not a job interview, he's trying to get that law license kind of expedited. Love all these keys behind him, by the way. Of course, here's freeze on that shot. Okay, so a few things to unpack here. So, one, Of course, Chuck is dead. We confirmed that here for anyone who had any doubts. Funeral, corpus delicti, that sort of thing. And you'll notice some familiar faces here. There's Rebecca on the left, woman
Oh
with the.
yeah, right, right.
And I'm still convinced. And I see more glasses here than I did that one time I was looking through. I'm convinced that's Cliff. That's Cliff Main over Jimmy's shoulder.
Really, it still looks like Hamlin to me.
No, I know it's not Hamlin because Hamlin has lighter hair. But
Okay.
trust me, it's not Hamlin. But it's either Ed Bigley Jr. or not. Because I think it is. Because I keep making out some glasses in this, but I could be mistaken. But the point is, it's not Hamlin. I know that much.
All right, all right.
I mean, you'll see. We'll see if you're right. I'd be like a little kind of a
Well, you
stateless
see, like
bet.
there's Hamlin right there.
Yeah, but I
So
think that's why he's not there. I think he's just going
no,
to be coming up.
but look at the color of the tie, though. Doesn't that look like a blue tie in the background?
Let me see Hamlin again. Hamlin's not even wearing a blue tie.
Well, he's kind of got like a grayish blue tie.
All right. Well, I don't know. See, we'll see. We'll see Monday, I guess.
Yeah. Anyways, of course, it's always nice to see Patrick Fabian gracing our screen, and you know.
I gotta tell you though, with this shot though, it's so fascinating. We see with Jimmy and with Hamlin especially, they're both kind of. We see Hamlin uncertain of things. But I think it's Hamlin that is most interesting. When like this character who just Hamlin's a character. His acting choice is always he just wants to keep his little world spinning. Whether that makes him a good guy or a bad guy, he just wants to keep his little world spinning. And he's not a bad. You're not bad for just wanting to keep things running. And now
Sure.
Chuck's gone, and he did not see this coming, and he might be casting some judgment on Jimmy right there. I don't know. It's an interesting look.
Okay, now this is what I'm talking about, where it looks like I'm sure this is all cut from the same scene, but just like inherently, it looks like we're getting like I like just kind of like the thesis of this whole thing with Mike and Jimmy.
Oh yeah,
Anyways,
I mean Mike's giving condolences. I mean that's a big thing for Mike to do.
uh So of course we
So
have the big employment has always been a factor with Better Call Saul, but like I said, I like the fact that we get this sort of the tie-in with, with Mike starting the new job, and it's kind of like the funny thing is the interesting parallel here is that Jimmy is most likely looking at a lower paying, like mundane job, like an office manager or something like that, whereas Mike is going with the high paying, high stakes job.
remember he has to because of the whole money laundering thing.
Uh-huh.
So interestingly here, so again with this, a big thing they've been teasing, and of course I think we kind of confirmed here is that Jimmy is again the whole psychological promise of the season here is that Jimmy he's processing he's processing Chuck's death by throwing himself into work and essentially throwing himself into his destiny, which let's not forget Chuck was pushing him towards in his last moments. So basically, Tiki, I'm so convinced we're doing one of my favorite things in storytelling this season with Saul, with Jimmy, is that we're doing that whole like your antagonist has presented you with a challenge in the previous season,
Right.
therefore you are answering that challenge. We've done with Flash, we've done with Daredevil season 1 and 2, so I think we're doing that. I think we're doing that here, where again he's trying to live up to his full potential, whether that's good or bad. That's not important. He's going to live up to his full potential, which is Saul Goodman.
Mhm.
And again, the last vestige along once he loses Kim, that'll be it for him. But losing Chuck and losing Kim will be the last vestiges of his dream of being an honest lawyer. Once those are gone, he's full slipping Jimmy practicing law, essentially.
Sure, sure.
Okay. So, okay, let's see. So now he's looking for basically he's looking for gainful employment, and and that's what he's circling, by the way. And the jobs that he was circling, by the way, if I don't know if you want to go back, you don't have to. I can just list them off here. We saw he's looking for jobs in copiers, like a cell phone store, and this is early cell phone stores, by the way, folks, and computer services. So interestingly, copiers, he's legitimately looking for work, and we know he was worked in a mailroom, and he worked with copiers a lot. So
Well, yes, he famously worked with a copier.
well, yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah, so back to Mike here. So Mike has left the toll booth for a magical security consultant job, and we're gonna get more Lydia this season.
Yay.
I mean, come on, don't just come on. She had like a little cameo last season, was fine.
No, I'm just she's not someone that I want to see be the focal point of anything.
But she won't be a focal point. She'll be like a cog in the wheel. She'll be like a Bolsa. I mean, come on, Bolsa was cool when we saw him.
Yeah, but Bulsa's that's not a fair comparison.
But
Bulsa's cooler than him, than her.
well, I'm saying that if they're gonna like reinvent Lydia or make her more interesting, I think this would be the show to do it.
Uh-huh.
It's like,
Anyways, a very nice, intimidating shot of Gus right here. It's like I love this shot because it's kind of like the melding between like the like the off the hinges Gus Fring and the Mr. Nice Guy Gus Fring.
sure. Let's see. Okay.
What do you think? What do you think this is? Do you think this is the cousins?
Well, I'm only seeing. I mean, it's entirely possible. I think it's Victor.
Victor?
I mean, again, assuming that's. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it looks kind of. I don't know who's looking out the window right now. I mean, it's based on the lighting. I want to say Jimmy, but I don't think it's Jimmy.
I would guess Mike.
I know that's the thing. If it's Mike, if it's Mike, it's Victor outside. That's my guess. If it's Mike, it's Victor standing outside right now.
Okay.
Basically, this is Jimmy trying to sell.
And this
Okay,
is
this is
my
fast.
favorite line of the whole trailer, by the way. It's not for me, and I don't think it should be for you either.
Now, this is the big interesting thing we are kind of skirting around earlier. So Jimmy is reaching out to Mike, and this is going to most likely going to cement the working relationship with Saul Goodman, where he hires Mike as a PI on a regular basis, which we've already kind of done in places like they exchange favors for each other. But I think this is the first time where Jimmy is reaching out as like kind of a for his own kind of side. Basically, he's reaching into criminality where Mike is usually his guy to kind of help prevent criminality. Basically, kind of skirt that line.
Uh-huh.
And this is him kind of asking Mike. Basically, he's basically doing what Price did with Mike, and that's kind of like the first time that's really happening. It's like full criminality, like Jimmy's trying to do. He's trying to skirt that, and Mike's kind of giving him the Price warning of like, hey, if you do this again, like you're a criminal, and you have to accept that. I think that's what Mike's kind of spelling out for him, or at least going to in this diner scene.
Oh, Hector, very important.
Yep. Hector's in rough shape, to say the least. I think it's very obvious they're probably gonna go full chair, like the whole bell and everything. What's so cool in this, I didn't realize until rewatch Tiki, is that they use the EKG, beep as the foreshadow for the bell, as like the dinging bell. If you notice that, it's really cool.
Uh-huh.
I mean, yeah, if they really wanted to drag it out, which I don't think they're gonna do, they could always have like, okay, maybe he's immobile, but he can still talk, like the whole.
I hope they don't do that, Dragon.
I mean, again, if any show is going to sell us on it, I always give these guys the benefit of the doubt because so far they haven't let us down so far. But I don't think they're going to do that. I think it's going to be they're not going to go basically quote Breaking Bad, no half measures. I don't think. Okay, so let's see. Fring here.
Yeah, just not much to say. Just excited to see Fring back in full blown intimidation mode.
Sure. I think we have a better shot of signing with Fring a little later on, so we'll see how that goes. There's a lot of really quick.
Yeah, the
shots.
editing, like, excuse me for not getting every shot here.
Oh, okay, Sarajevo, and I've been heard that this is teased up as a really big artistic sequence right here.
Well, I saw another shot where it was basically a montage where
Yeah,
drinking.
That's the one I'm talking about, like a time lapse thing.
Yeah.
I heard it talked about, and we'll see what happens with it. But I've heard this is going to be one of the big standouts. I would assume early on because you're still the arm brace. I think is going to be the way of. I mean, I always want to see you could track the progression of time with the arm brace, but by the same token,
My guess is it's going to be like the leftover season 3, where it's going to be like a mini mystery at the start of the season.
I mean, it's possible, but I'm thinking more along the lines of in the Albuquerque verse, time is like a weird thing where you stretch out time. So I think she might be stuck with this thing for the whole season, or at least half the season, technically. Like poor Ray Seahorn with this cast. And you gotta remember, folks, whenever you see someone with a cast in a movie, they actually have to put a real cast on her. So she's stuck with. And that's the thing. They have to schedule it like when they did the cast at the end of last season, like she had to get like, schedule that so it wouldn't be inconvenient, so she wouldn't have to go home and sleep with that thing on. So she's stuck with that for like the whole shooting day essentially, and that's torture. All right. I mean, luckily she wouldn't have any bruising, but I'm just saying that's anyway. Okay, this is great. I love this here. How we're doing basically the okay. Maybe we should go back to the copy shop here. Oh, okay. Stick to the copy shop. It's fine. Let's just one. Okay, stop right there. Alpine Shepherd Boy.
Ah.
Now, my
I didn't
theory,
even catch that.
my theory is that it could be one of two things. One, Mrs. Strauss, the the lady with the chair who went down, the one who had the Alpine Shepherd Boys. Either either she basically gave it to him as a parting gift, like basically, if we need a reminder at the top of the season that Jimmy can't practice elder law anymore because he burned his bridge with the old folks, she might give that to him as like a going away present.
Huh.
Or, I mean, I don't want this to happen, but possibly she passed away and she willed it to him, which would be
Okay.
nice. I don't know. Okay. Okay. Let's see. So beyond that, we saw this cryptic shot of the copy shop.
Uh-huh.
So I think now again, I don't know if this is going to be Jimmy's intention from the outset when he's circling things, but I think Jimmy's going to be scamming the places that he's working with to kind of build. He's going to be doing something with these places. I don't know if he's necessarily going to be robbing from them or what. I don't know, but he's cooking up something with with kind of these side jobs. I don't know. I think might have something to do with that.
Yeah, of course it's like it's not just to keep his income afloat. It's, we know with Jimmy McGill, it's going to be something, a step further than that.
And again, from like one of the things one of the teasers we talked about earlier, there was like a line where it says, "I have some plans." So Jimmy is planning
Uh-huh.
something. I just don't know what yet.
Interesting.
Like, my
Interesting.
guess is that he's trying to get seed money to start his own, basically to start the strip mall. That's my main guess. But yeah, I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead to speculation. So yeah, let's see. Oh, this is a great line, by the way. We're going to hit some rough road. And I love this. I love that we're doing the set piece from Nailed, where basically he used the garden hose, basically used the man made version of the spike strip to basically
Uh-huh.
rob a car. And basically, he has the proper means thanks to Gus Fring. So he's using like the actual spike, the actual tire spike thing. Spike strip. Sorry,
Semantics.
he's using the actual spike, like the actual professional spike strip here, which I think is great.
Uh-huh. Of
Of course,
course,
now
this
here's
is a
the big
shot I was
shootout.
talking about that's been in pretty much every trailer, I think.
And we saw a bloody sleeve in like one of the other things in marketing, and I'm convinced that bloody sleeve is Nacho's sleeve. I'm convinced.
Hmm.
I've seen that pattern on Nacho's shirts before, so I think it's Nacho's. Now that car, by the way, the one that's on fire, is the one that Mike just nailed.
Sure.
Okay, just a little detail there. Oh, okay, no, Tiki, gotta go back. One of the most important shots in the whole thing just happened. Okay, so right there.
I know what you're talking about. I'm just trying to find it.
There we go.
Oh my god.
So it's like the Iron Gem. You're trying to like, get
This,
the
right?
rails. Okay, no, bathroom scene. Bathroom scene.
Oh,
117. The one that like maybe a moment before you're yeah, right.
wow.
There we go.
Okay.
Okay.
That was ridiculous.
Yes. Okay, folks. But here we are. Seriously, the most important shot for me in the whole thing right here. I love this scene because I'm looking very forward to Hamlin this season. What we're going to do with like a Hamlin out of his sorts this season, and this shot sums it all up. Seriously, one, we've never seen Hamlin in a bathroom setting. We see Jimmy all the time, and like when he's in
Uh-huh.
the courtroom, he's always like, it's just like the whole
I
showtime,
love how
folks.
disheveled he looks. He's just like
I,
his tie is just like crooked and
and folks, it sounds so mundane, it sounds so minimal, but again, folks, we know for a fact this is intentional because they always, they revel in like Howard Hamlin is very
Dragon,
much like
his tie's not all the way straight. Can you believe it?
it's like in Watchmen, like whenever Doctor Man had like, those little micro winces, and it spoke volumes about the character. Like he was weeping. He might as well have been weeping on the outside.
Oh god. Oh
It's like
god.
one of those things with Howard Hamlin, and we know this is intentional because they always talk this up on the Insider podcast and the commentaries. They love how kind of prim and proper Howard Hamlin is. So again, what you see on the surface, it speaks volumes about that character. And they'll have the whole joke in season 3 where like he's doing like secret agent Hamlin, where he's jumping over the walls and everything to
Right, right.
basically when he's doing like kind of the spy stuff there, when he all the clandestine stuff that Howard Ham would never do. And anyway, I'm getting is like even the tie skew, like he's not buttoned up and everything. And honestly, again, it goes without saying, we've never seen Hamlin in kind of a bathroom setting like this. So all of this does speak great volumes that he is out of sorts, and he and Jimmy are either at odds or he's offering Hamlin some condolence or pointers. I mean, there's a fascinating story with Hamlin this season. I really hope they're going to tell it.
It's almost like a painting. It's like Jimmy is like used to this environment, and Hamlin is like, it's like a great kind of yin and yang in this circumstance.
It's like I don't know how it Tiki. I have no idea how it's going to happen, but I think HHM is going to be in jeopardy. I think that's going to rock Howard's
All right, well, we're getting
world.
into spec here.
I'm right. Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry. The rest of it's about over. So it's just.
Uh-huh. Um,
I think it's pretty much a lot of quick shots.
yeah, and then
Yeah,
of course, I think this is kind of the last
yeah.
of
This
it,
is it.
right?
This is like basically the little snakes joke here. I will say this about the snakes joke. I do like that basically at the end. I read this bit right, the one that just passed. He says, "Oh, that's the only lawyer joke I know because all the other ones are true." I think that's a good kind of like destiny line of like again all the other stories that he tells are again like about kind of Saul Goodman adventures essentially like they're all very true things that he had done. Well, I mean, I think it's what it's alluding to. I don't think it's necessarily like, exactly going to be literalized, but you know what I mean.
Uh-huh.
Right. So that's what we've seen, folks. Again, again, folks, you're as caught up as we are right now.
Okay.
So, moving on, just the spec.
Yeah, so like I said,
What we
Dragon,
think's going to happen.
unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot because I've just been, I wanted to, work went late tonight, Dragon, but,
All right.
crap.
What?
I,
What is it?
I'm sorry, what I'm trying to say is that I didn't have as much time to prepare actual spec as I wanted to.
Okay. Well, I mean, anything off the top of your head you want to talk about?
Well, I already kind of brought up the fact that I think that we're going to have some sort of mystery with Kim in the cast. I think that's going to be kind of like a
We know why she's in the cast. Tiki. Remember, she was in the car accident.
oh, that's right. That's right.
I just mean like there might be like a time thing. If I don't know how long she's going to have that cast in the
Well,
season.
that's kind of what I'm talking about though. That's what I'm talking about like I don't know. Man.
Let me get the ball rolling. Maybe we'll start off there. Let's get
Okay.
some lightning kind of striking here. Okay, so let's see. Well, first off, I think Jimmy
Here's the
is
thing. I feel like everything that I wanted to talk about already got brought up earlier, so I'm kind of like at a loss for things to talk about here.
well. If we go over anything, if we do kind of a little Venn diagram thing, we go over some old territories, like elaborate on it, I guess.
Okay.
Okay, so here's a big one. Again, he also like general stuff, like to the end of the series stuff too. If you come up with it, and I have a few of those myself. So again, like broader, just go broad with it.
Well, the thing is, we already kind of talked about that with our breakdown of like how many seasons. That was all my general series speculation, honestly.
All right. Yeah. Well, anyway, okay. So I got the point is I got stuff we haven't talked about yet. So
Okay.
let's get the ball rolling. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
So big one. I think Jimmy's going to meet a lot of street contacts because basically the whole like the track suited slipping Jimmy thing. I think he's going to be a lot of street contacts, and whether it's going to be a low, whether it's going to be possibly Stefan Kapsik or not, I don't know. But the point is, I think he's going to meet QB. I really think we're going to get QB this season.
I hope so. I hope so. I love
Wouldn't
Bill
it?
Burr.
It makes sense because he's a street level. Bill Burr strikes me as a street level con man. I could buy that he met him, and that's why Saul Goodman calls on this guy. I could buy that, and this would be the optimal time to meet a guy like that while he's kind of getting paroling kind of perusing the streets, kind of doing some kind of like not strictly legal dealings. I could buy it. A fellow con man. And also Bill Burr, he was moderating all the panels at Comic Con. I think
Oh,
Bill,
was he? Huh. Okay.
he did the
Okay.
10th anniversary panel and he did the Better Call Saul panel. So I think that might be a little clue. I'm convinced. That's my big bet for this season. I bet you we're getting QB this season.
Nice. Nice.
I think we're getting QB this season, and I think whenever we have Saul Goodman, that's when we're getting Hank. We're going to get Hank, and then we're going to ultimately, by the very end at least, we'll get Walt and Jesse.
So do you think Hank is a possibility for like a late in the game season 4 thing?
I mean, I really think once we're like comfortably in the Saul Goodman, we're gonna get Hank. Let me lay this out. 'Cause I gotta go through this before we get to that. I think I really think the way the season's going to go, Tiki. I think we're going to get Saul, but Saul's going to be saved for towards the end, like towards like maybe the last two or three, two at the very least. I think the last two episodes, three at the most.
Oh,
I think we're going to get Saul this season. I just don't think it's going to be like again. They completely subvert this. By the way, it's my theory is that we're going to get Saul. We're gonna build him up, and then we're gonna get him, and he'll basically commit to the name by the very end. But he'll be like he's gonna. I really think that's going to be his main play. He's trying to secure funds for the strip mall. Like basically, he's trying to fast forward into being a lawyer. He's going to find all like the little loopholes that he can to become a lawyer as fast as he can.
Yeah, I think if we have any sort of speculation about what exactly Jimmy's cooking up, the strip mall is definitely the most logical theory behind that.
And then I think season 5 is going to be like when he's getting the business off the ground, which will bring back most likely. Basically, I think that's going to be. I think season 5 has the possibility of becoming the season of the season that we were always kind of imagining when they announced the Better Call
Well,
Saul
that's what
show.
I'm saying, Dragon. We already kind of broke that down with how many seasons we hope it'll have. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like the whole like that's when we have like Tina Parker coming back as Francesca and Huel. I think it's going to we're going to start like establishing the Saul Goodman. And yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's your goal on that. Let's see. Okay, so I think episode 1, in terms of where we're going to start the season exactly. So, by the way, one little mini rant here. We now, folks. I know they were available. We didn't watch the two clips. There were two clips that were released. One, they revealed the Gene scene, which I thought was a big mistake.
No.
I no, I haven't watched it. I'm just saying I know that they've teased.
No, I know. It just makes me angry that exists and it's out of the fucking internet.
It's on the internet. I don't know if AMC.
Why?
No, I don't know if AMC. I don't know if I saw like there was a.
That makes me angry, Dragon.
I know, right?
I'm getting fired up. Just ooh.
Now I imagine it's not the full scene, but
It's
the
been
point
a
is
long day at work. I'm kind of tired. You might have noticed a lack of energy here, but ooh, that gets me fired up.
I mean, it sounds like again. I don't blame. I don't know if that was AMC though who did the Gene clip because
That's so dumb. That is so dumb.
I know it does. Yeah, it sounds.
What? Why would you do that?
I know it's bizarre.
Why would you fucking do that?
Again, like however much footage that you do, you're gonna give, even if it's not the whole thing, you're getting like the big meat. Like every season famously kicks off with a Gene.
That's what I'm saying. It's like we have a rhyme and rhythm to the structure of every season, and the Gene scenes are a big component to that.
Yeah.
Dragon, I saw one thing with Gene. One thing. I won't even say what it is. Well, it was in one of the things that you sent me. It was like in a clip. I think it was the clip where it was it was like the 3-minute clip of the cast like speculating about the season.
Oh yeah, right. They have like that's fine though. It's just like him walking. That's about it.
But honestly, even that is too much for me because it's like okay, it doesn't start with him in the hospital. We at least know that.
Well, again, it could always show what happened. Again, the point. I think it's ambiguous enough, but I see your point. I see your point though.
Like, my point is, I don't want to see anything in the Gene's timeline, Dragon. I don't want to see a damn shot from the Gene timeline.
And of course, there's always that looming what if of like if Gene's like recurring, like if they have more cold opens with Gene versus just like the one big cold open, which could be mind blowing, but you don't know
because it's like now I can't listen to any podcast until the first episode comes out of fear that they'll talk about that.
The good news is you don't have to wait that long.
I know, but still, there's podcasts that I listen to ramp myself up for the season that I now can't. So that's a bit of a bummer. Anyways.
All right. So let's see. Okay, so anyway, in terms of where we're going to start, so presumably after a Gene scene, as we traditionally kind of kick off the season, I think what's going to happen, so after that Gene scene, we're going to pick up with Salamanca being carted off in the ambulance. And then because we saw, I don't think it was in the main show that we just kind of went scene by scene through, but it was in one of the marketing things where we saw Fring is having a conversation with Nacho, I believe, in the same exact location. So I think that's the direct aftermath of the ambulance. So I think logic dictates that. So while Chuck, basically what I'm saying to you is on the same night that Chuck dies, the Hector Salamanca thing happens. So by logic,
I like that.
so the logic I'm putting together here is that we do Gene, and of course you're imagining, oh my god, what happened to Chuck? And you're not going to get that right off the bat. You're going to do the ambulance thing, and basically let them having their big conversation. Because last season we opened on Jimmy, and then we did Mike in terms of the link up. And I think we're just going to inverse that this season. Then after that, what we're going to do is the next morning following that is when they have the whole discovery of Chuck and everything.
Ooh, that's dark. That's
So
dark.
that's now again. I don't know if it's going to be. I doubt that Jimmy's going to. Someone's going to discover it. Maybe it's Hamlin. Who knows? I don't. Well, they can't be Hamlin because Hamlin's several tests. Someone's going to discover it. Maybe it's Rebecca. It could be Rebecca. That's probably going to be it. Okay, let's see. So that's my main theory. How we're going to start things off on the first episode on Smoke, miraculously. And again, I think we're gonna get like the kind of the open close of it all is gonna be like kind of the smoke of kind of coming from Chuck's house to the smoke of the cigarette. That's
I think you're right on the money with that, Dragon. I mean, we'll see. Like that's gonna be something I'm gonna be looking for. Like how on the money are we with that symbolism?
Okay, here's a big one. Okay, I think by the season's end, again with the whole once like right now losing Chuck, slipping Jimmy is reigning right now. I believe when he loses Kim, that's when Saul Goodman's going to emerge. At the very least, going to emerge in full. Like that's when we make the full leap from there's no more Slim and Jimmy. It's all Goodman is like now the other side of things. And I think one of two things is going to happen. So either by the end of the season, either Jim and Kim are going to split up, which again most likely is. I'm inclined to believe that's what's going to happen. But the really oddball thing that could happen would be kind of fascinating if they got married by the end of the season. And they got divorced.
I've always pitched the idea that, like, of course, like, if Saul Goodman had a wife, we wouldn't necessarily know about her in the context of Breaking Bad.
That's true, and by the same token, married or no, we know that again. Bear in mind though, and I love that they've addressed it. And this makes me makes me love the storytellers of Better Call Saul because they do have a bulletin board of everything they've ever said in Breaking Bad about Saul Goodman and his backstory. So they did pigeonhole themselves technically on one element of the story. They have to work. They still haven't figured out a way to write themselves out of, as far as we know. That Saul Goodman had two ex-wives, and of course they pigeonholed themselves with the timeline of like, well, we killed off Jimmy's mother at this time, and there was like a whole step we'd never. And he had a stepfather, and of course, how does that whole thing works? And most likely, I think the smart money's on it'll just be Saul Goodman making stuff up.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a smart money for anything that you can write off of what he said.
But regardless, I mean, we know at least part of it. Like the whole Chicago sunroof was the first marriage. Presumably, he had an ex-wife from the Chicago sunroof.
Oh.
Now, I think the happy medium would be that I think Kim might be the second big divorce, and that's why he comes up with a lie, because it's too painful for him to go into. So I'm saying if they got married and then divorced in the next season, I'm just saying it's either going to be a split up this season or, again, potentially a marriage thing. I don't know. We'll see. She might not be as put off by Saul Goodman as we think she might be. So it's just something to consider, considering all possibilities, that's all. Kim and Howard Hamlin, if they work together, I think it's going to be for one of two reasons. Could be somehow to save HHM, I guess, bad press after Charles McGill dies, maybe, I don't know, or like a mental cop, basically like you conspired to fire a sick man. How bad, Howard Hamlin? Bad on you. We're taking our business elsewhere, something like that. Or something that occurred to me today. It might be this Wood thing. Remember, Kim turned down Gatwood, and most likely, maybe Gatwood found his way to HHM, and now Howard Hamlin's asking for her help, and he says something like, "It's only fair, Kim, because you turned Gatwood down because of your little car accident." And then she says, "Fair. Let's talk about fair."
Right.
Right. Potential. I had a revelation about Gene recently. I think at the end of all the Gene stuff, we're going to go from black and white to full color.
I mean, I'm sure we've at least mentioned the idea of that before, but yeah, I definitely think that's on point.
I'm saying if your big theory about Gene comes true, I think the moment that happens, that's when the color's going to have a fray. I think we're about okay. We already mentioned the Hank thing. I already say Walt Jesse, Lalo. We already covered that. Oh yes, one last detail, one last plot thing. Last thing. Mike, I think this season's going to deal with Mike's first kill. Has to.
He Mike still hasn't killed in the series.
He had in well, I mean, I'm not counting the two Philly cops. I mean, he hasn't killed since the two Philly cops now.
Okay, got it.
And remember, that's a big thing. Like, he could have killed Hector
Sure.
Salamanca and then Nacho, but he
I'm sorry,
spared.
Dre. It's just like for some reason you just Drake. I feel like you have like some sort of time travel device or something that allows you to rewatch all these shows so much because I just do not have the time, my friend.
Like I've told you, I like rewatch it
I
like at
know
least.
that's what I'm saying. It's like I'm like I'm sorry, man. It's like I just
I gotta
if
be
I'm
honest.
lucky, I'll rewatch something once.
I gotta be honest. Again, I'm just so enamored with the show. I really don't need. I didn't really need. I didn't even really need to rewatch it. If I'm being frank, it's just like it's all so good. Um, but let's see. But yeah, Mike's first kill though. It's I think that might be the big reason that he and Gus might have to. I think it's the big wedge between him and Gus right now. They're going to be working through is that Gus is going to have to convince Mike to kill somebody
uh,
and convince him that it's necessary. Honestly, you know what I think might happen? I think Mike's going to kill someone to either save. Here's what I think might happen. I think to build Victor and Mike's bond, to build their trust, to build their dynamic, which is most likely going to be a plot line this season, the whole like why Mike trusts Victor so much. I think Mike's going to save Victor's life by killing somebody.
I could see that.
I think that's my
Maybe
big
that's
theory.
like
Like,
possibly maybe it possibly involves the shootout. Like maybe Mike steps in kind of like a Walter White type of way, like we saw Walter White step in at the end of season 2, possibly
possibly,
kind of mirroring that a little bit.
sure. By the end, I think you mean season 3.
Oh yeah, I mean yeah, you're right. Season 3, the one with
Run.
yeah, Run. That's what I'm talking about. You're right.
All
Okay.
right. Okay. Yeah, we don't need FT. If you want to wrap early, we don't have to go through the.
I got nothing. I got nothing. All right. What about the viral marketing? Do you want to talk
Well, that's
about
what I
that?
meant. If you don't want to, we don't have to. We can briefly, if you want to, just.
Yeah, there are a couple things I'd like to talk about with that.
Oh, sure. You take the lead then.
Okay, let me screen share it. Just really quick. I just kind of want to show it off, really.
Of course, AMC has worked wonders with the Better Call Saul viral marketing on the AMC
I'm
website. They
sorry,
have all
Jay.
these really
Go
cool
like kind of talk this up, Dragon, because I'm having a hard time getting it to screen share.
on the AMC website. They have all these great methods of viral marketing. Of course, you have the Insider podcast, you have the Inside the episodes, you have all sorts of things, and you even like you can call the act some. You can call like Jimmy McGill's phone number and the Saul Goodman phone number, and you'll get two different answering services,
I love
which
that
are
attention to detail.
and traditionally, it's not. I found out the hard way. Not in every case, but in most cases, all the phone numbers in the show are actual, set up, phone lines that they're like like you can call Nacho. You can still call Nacho's phone number technically. You can
Didn't
call
you call the
Nacho's.
nail salon?
Here's the thing.
You called
Yeah,
the nail salon and you actually got a Chinese nail
no,
salon.
no, no, no. Here's what happens. So the nail salon. Here are the ones that are built-in numbers. Okay,
Okay.
You have Jimmy's number. You have Saul Goodman's number. You have Nacho's number.
uh-huh.
You have the nail salon's an act like is the thing you can call. It's Mrs. Nguyen answers the phone and everything. And
It's a
Davis and Maine.
recording though.
Yeah, they're all recordings. Bear in
Okay.
mind. And you have Davis and Maine. Those are the 5 numbers that are still, I believe, still in activation. I don't know if Davis and Maine is still going to be now going into the season, but
Uh-huh.
they were set up, and I called the I'm
God.
trying to remember. It was a massage place. It was
Oh no. Oh no.
because remember in the episode I believe it was during the Saul Goodman Productions era when he and the film crew were parked outside of the building. There's like this billboard with like the massage part, like it's either on the side of a wall or it's on a billboard. Now I think
Wow,
it's
that's
on
a
a
deep
wall.
cut, Dragon. That's a deep cut.
It's on a wall. It was on a wall, and I called them, and I was like, he was like, I was expecting, okay, phone message, and I was like, hello. I was like, hello. I'm sorry, are you? Am I calling Albuquerque right now? And it says yes. It's like,
Oh
wow.
my god.
Like, I'm terribly sorry about you. So yeah. Again, like 5 out of 6 isn't bad though.
Okay. So Dragon, honestly, like the only reason I want to pull this website up is for 2 reasons. One, I just love the kind of like early 2000s layout of it. 2, like I'm not gonna play any of these clips, of course. You can kind of click around. Well, I like the Office webcam. That's kind of fun. But I love the e cards. I'll show you the e cards. Yeah. My
You know what's
favorite
funny?
one is the whole the drug problem one. I'll turn that addiction into a prescription.
You know
What's
what's
funny?
funny? On the AMC website, they also have this game. I played this game. It's so fun and ridiculous. It's like you can dress Saul up and like pick all these different outfits from the wear, and like it gives like a social situation in which like it'll judge you, like it give like a point system out of 10, like how accurate you got it, and it's hilarious.
Also,
See,
can we talk about the tiger thing?
the tiger thing.
The one where he's talking about like, oh, if you happen to have a tiger, if you were like, basically he's spinning like that he had a client that was raising a pet tiger and it broke out and killed some people.
Oh God, yeah.
And he's just like, well, you were close to a zoo. You know, what are you gonna do? It wasn't your tiger.
It will scroll down. Scroll down. I think it's this is great. Scroll down. It, okay, let's see.
Yes.
I'm trying to. All right, click check out Saul's philanthropic causes.
Oh God.
Pops up.
Oh my God.
Scroll down. Scroll down. Keep going. It's the same. It's the exact same thing that
Yep.
was that
Yep.
Walt Jr. typed up. It's the same exact.
Oh
Okay.
dear. And
Because whatever you
it's
do now,
so early 2000s, Dragon. The Comic Sans, the Comic Sans is killing me.
now the trippy thing, by the way, is you can actually donate to a cancer cause. By the way, if you do click to donate, you would. That's a thing.
Huh.
I heard that. At least I knew it used to function. I assume it still does because again it has like the clicking function. But anyway,
No, it just
oh
stays
no,
what it
not
is.
anymore. But there was a time, folks, where if you actually that was an actual website that did exist and you could actually donate to, but you would the funding would be redirected to like a charity of some kind. Anyway,
All right. I
yeah.
think that's about it.
Oh, real quick, just one thing I noticed, real quick, all the speculation. See in the top left corner, you
Badger.
see. No, not Badger. I'm saying look at the image of the very like Jimmy in
Oh,
the
top left corner. Yes,
see,
yes.
this is
Sorry.
fascinating. I just put this together now. See, initially I thought this is maybe like an update for Better Call Saul season 4, but it's not. But something's dawned on me that Jimmy, that Saul Goodman is in kind of this tracksuit, a blue version of a tracksuit, and he has like you can tell it's from the show because this is when he took pictures of Jesse Pinkman in the hospital. He's like, "Hey, Rocky," that whole thing, and he has like the little ribbon from the 747 thing.
Right,
And
right.
what's dawned on me is like, oh my god, the tracksuit that he's wearing there, and he's wearing a tracksuit in Better Call Saul right now.
Uh-huh.
His little fact of like, oh my god, that's where they pulled it from, maybe. Ah.
We're getting there, Dragon. We're getting there for
All right,
sure.
so final thoughts then.
Yeah, it's just like honestly, Dragon, I apologize for not having the time to really go in depth with season 3. Um because this show is really just it's masterful television. It's like at this point Breaking Bad and Vince Gilligan and company, they've really crafted something special. They've crafted essentially a cinematic universe on TV, but in a much more kind of like, ambitious kind of like real world scale to it. And I can't tell you how excited I am about season 4. It's just I really feel like it's going to be the like not the culmination of everything, but it's going to be kind of like the crescendo, kind of like the building up point of everything that we've seen so far. And it's been such a long time coming, Dragon. This wait has been brutal. It really has been. Like this has honestly been one of the most frustrating waits I've ever had for a TV show between seasons. Given the high point that season 3 left out on, and then given the fact that at this point, Dragon, hasn't it been like about a year since the finale of season 3, roughly?
Huh? Let me. I
Or maybe even longer than that.
well, I mean, the finale was I want to say, God, I want to say it was okay. Last season was in April,
Wasn't
so
the
it wrapped up.
finale in May?
That's the thing. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it ended in May, so it's past May now. So I guess ipso facto, it's a year.
So that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying, Dragon. Like it's been a year and some change. So I'm ready for this, man. I really need to just get my ass in gear, rewatch some of season 3. At the very least, I need to. I'll have the last 3 episodes of season 3 rewatched.
Watch 7 and 9 at least, though. You watch 7, 9, and 10. All right, just watch 7 at the because 7 has that performance at the end.
Sure. But yeah, I'm sorry I don't have much more to speculate on besides what we already have, but I think it's definitely going to be a fun ride.
Right. For me, my final thoughts. I have all the faith in the world that season 4 will impress, but I do want to address this one fear. It's a fear that's not going to get in the way of my enjoyment. It's not going to I'm not really worried about this, but I think something to address. That there's as positive as we're being, there is absolutely something that could happen in season 4. I do have a fear. Season 4 could skew more. There's a temptation, and so far, guys have circumvented the temptation. They've naturally worked in the Breaking Bad at all. But I feel more than any of the other seasons, this season is at great risk because now they're really linking up with Breaking Bad, and that's a natural thing. We know that was coming, but there's a chance we go more bad and than Better Call Saul. We can lose kind of the Saul Goodman story in the heat of all of our cool cartel stuff. At least that's what the marketing was directing us towards in the beginning. But again,
I see where you're coming from there. Yeah.
Yep, the Comic-Con trailers give me a lot of Jimmy McGill stuff, and in all the interviews and everything, they're talking about Jimmy McGill, which makes me think it's going to be an even balance. So again, I have faith in these guys. At the end of the day,
like I said, at the very least, I like that they're thematically more linked than they were in season 3.
Sure. So again, I don't think things will go south, but I don't think that's really going to happen. I don't think it's going to be more Breaking Bad than Saul, but I do think it's just a concern to acknowledge. I feel it's best honestly it boils down like this, folks, and I think it's the best way of putting it. Best case scenario, season 4 could be Bates Motel season 4 for Saul, which of course Bates Motel season 4. I can't say enough nice things about it.
Sure.
Specifically the ending. Worst case scenario, it's Breaking Bad season 4. Which has great high points.
Breaking Bad season 4.
That's the thing. Season 4. I mean, no, it's nowhere near as great as season 5, but season 4 is has fantastic high points, specifically with all the cartel stuff, and it's the thing that worst case scenario. Oh, that season was like another Breaking Bad season 4, which again traditionally fans really love.
That's like the low point of what we can expect.
I mean, Tika, that's the science of how good this show is. Like, that's the worst. Again, this show so far, has not made a legitimate error. There's no kleptomania. There's no some fans are polarized by the likability of a character. There's not really any of that. This show, it's like everyone's like, oh my god, it's so gun ho, we love it. And the worst case scenario, it's Breaking Bad.
Okay, folks, so thank you so much for joining us. Wednesdays are going to be our goal to get Better Call Saul out. That's my day off from work during the work week, so that should be a good time for me to take notes and everything. So usually expect the recap on Wednesdays. And in the meantime, Dragon, why did God invent snakes before he invented lawyers?
He needed the practice.
That's right. Better Call Saul!
Better Call